I have the barrel. I'm wiping down the outside, getting all of the gunk off. And then I'm just going to get inside of the muzzle, inside of the chamber a little bit. Just going to try and get off as much carbon on the outside as I physically can. And that way it makes it a little bit easier to hold because you're not getting your hands full of black carbon. It's not making it slippery, dries it off good and well. Then what I want to do is grab a cleaning bristle and I want to soak it in everybody's hated favorite Opt number 9. And I use a little plastic plate, and that makes it a little bit easier to clean up. And I just put it through and I just scrub it out really good. And all that crap getting on the plate, that's why I put the plate there. Alright, now I've scrubbed it out nice. Just gonna set that there. Just go.
Yep.
Okay, so now I'm going to take a patch and I'm going to center it over the jag and drop it. Make sure you do that, that's very important. Just sort of hold it there for a second. Take this and I'm going to just run it through, flip it over, and then run it through one more time. And then I'm just going to do that again. Jesus Christ. Look at that. It's already a lot cleaner.
And how many rounds was it today?
I did 150. Getting a lot cleaner, but I don't want to be fooled and think that it's already clean, so I'm going to be extra careful with it and do one more patch, but this time I'm going to soak it a little bit in some of everybody's favorite hated little Opt number 9 because I'm an animal and I hate my guns. And it gets off a little bit more of that black shit, known as carbon. And the second the barrel starts to get a little bit too soggy to handle, I'm just gonna wipe it down a little bit. And you're gonna get a lot of carbon buildup at the muzzle, so see that there's a little bit of carbon there, and that's just going to build up, and you want to make sure that before you put it together, you wipe that down at least a couple of times, and I like to wipe it down throughout the process. And now I'm going to switch back to my brush, my wire brush, and I'm going to scrub it one more time. And then we're going to repeat with another couple of patches. Just like this. Throw one patch through. Look at that. It was coming out clean before, wasn't it? Looks like it's not as clean as we thought. Throw that away. It's getting a lot cleaner. As you can see, that was our first time, bristle, bristle, then jag. And then that was our second time, bristle, bristle, jag. And then that is our third time. And that's pretty much good enough for me, so that way, once I get down to where it's coming out more or less white, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Okay, so now I'm going to start wiping down my slide, and I'm just taking a regular dry blue rag that I got from, any auto department that's out there. And I already started a little bit. You can see the carbon buildup on there. And I just go inside the rails, go all around, get a finger in there. It likes it. And you just dig in. And when I go to re-oil this, I'm going to oil any of the running surfaces. So if it's got some steel showing through, that's a running surface. So I just put a really, really thin amount of oil right here, a nice drop or two inside of the rails, and just let it drip down. Usually right about here I'll wipe out the excess and then reintroduce another drop down here, wiping out the excess again. You want it to be nicely lubricated, but you don't want it sopping wet in your hand. You want it to have a frictionless surface, but you don't want a leaking pistol. A leaking pistol is a bad time. Unless, of course, you're putting it into storage, in which case it's less of a bad time, but I would still practice just lubricating it properly. And one of the reasons you don't want a leaking pistol is right here is your firing pin hole. I mean, it's black on black, I'm sorry. But right inside here, there's your firing pin hole. If you get oil into that, that's bad because carbon is going to get right in there, and oil is a carbon attractant. And what that's going to do is it's going to freeze up your firing pin if you don't clean it. So, we want to make sure that we wipe down the face of our frame here. But we don't want to oil that. Some people oil their firing pins. I don't like to oil my firing pins. I don't think that's a good idea. And I don't think that's good practice. In fact, I have yet to see something telling me to oil my firing pin. And I've seen people tell me to oil my firing pin, but I haven't seen any documentation that says that. I may be wrong, but so far it's worked, and I've never had any malfunction, but at the same time, I also clean my guns every time I shoot them. So maybe one cancels out the other, but this is the way I do it, and it works for me. And I have my spring, and I have my guide rod. My guide rod is plastic and fluted, gives the carbon a place to go, but I would prefer this also be aluminum or steel, just like the handgun. The spring is a spring. So I just wipe it down. Doesn't need any oil. Haven't seen any of these rust, haven't seen any of them bind, and I don't want to put any excessive amount of carbon through oiling it. Just wiping it down is perfectly fine. Just a couple passes through the napkin. That one's good. This one, it's plastic. Carbon doesn't really want to stick to it. Just take a fingernail, go through all of the ridges, wipe it down, and that's pretty good.